You're watching Quiet Storm Sports on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Subscribe for more Ravens content.
Yes, sir. Like I said, welcome back to another episode of Quiet Storm Sports right here on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. I am your host, Sutton Def, and we're back with another good one. Lots of things to touch on today. We've got Ravens Training Camp Day 6. We've got the Zay Flowers extension. But of course, first, we are live. I want to give a shout out to who's here live in the live chat and also the replay gang. If you're not watching the live stream, you're part of the replay of this. Shout out to you as well. Please be sure to like the video on your way in. We'd appreciate that. We'd appreciate that over here. Let me see. We got my guy, Coach Sip 2 Tallies in the building. What's going on, Coach? I see Stretch 52 is in the building. What's going on, Stretch? I see Stretch 626 is in the building as well. Says Coach in chat. What up, what up, what up? Void is in the building. Lots of members in the house tonight. Shout out to the Rain Gang members here coming through and showing love. Smitty86 is in the house. What's going on, Smitty? JR15. What up, what up, what up? Shout out to all of our members. Shout out to everybody watching live right now. I see y'all. I see y'all. I see y'all. Thank y'all so much for coming through. Black Daniels giving a shout out to the hashtag replay gang. Real quick, I do want to start with a little bit of new Sutton superstition, if you will. I don't know if y'all noticed, but for a long time in my set, or on my set, Tila, what up? I see you. For a long time on my set, I've had this calendar behind me. Have you guys noticed that? And recently, whatever player is featured for a particular month on this calendar, something good has happened to them. So last week, I had Nnamdi Madubuike for July. And last week was when we learned that Nnamdi Madubuike was officially going to be back and probably, most likely, starting week 1 for this Ravens team. Now it's August the 4th, might I add. And on August the 4th, Zay Flowers, who is now featured on this month's part of the calendar, he has gotten his extension. So I don't know what September holds, what player is going to be featured for the month of September. But if I had to guess, I'm thinking some pretty good things are going to be coming, whoever that is way. And I can't wait to see it. I'm not peeking. I'm not cheating. I'm not taking any early looks or anything like that. I'm right here with you guys. I have no idea who's going to be September. So let's see. Let's keep it going. Byron says, keep it going. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Black Daniels says, suddenly you got the juice on the calendar. That's what I'm saying, brother. That's what I'm saying. We'll see who September has. But so far, he says, show us a peek of September. I can't do it. I got to hold out. But appreciate y'all for coming through as always. Let me see. Okay. So you guys know what we got to start with, right? Biggest order of business today is the Zay Flower news, the Zay Flower extension. Let me go ahead and bring this up on screen for us here so we can look at this together. Earlier today, you had the Baltimore Ravens extend or announce an extension of Ravens wide receiver Zay Flowers. The big news media outlets, they all reported it as a 4-year, $140 million deal with $108 million guaranteed, which is true. And it is supposed to be $35 million per year on average, right? But when you really break it down, and courtesy here to Ravens Salary Cap, aka Brian McFarland, does a great job, a phenomenal job at breaking down all things salary cap when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens. And he chimed in earlier today and had some interesting things to say. So obviously, like I said, the mass media deal was 4 years, $140 million. That's what made the headlines. But Brian McFarland, again, at Ravens Salary Cap, huge respect for him. He says a 4-year extension on the 2 years remaining on his deal will keep Zay under contract for 6 years. He was due $2.664 million in 2026 and $27.298 million in 2027. So adding the $140 million in new money for the extension means the total deal comes out to $169 million approximately over 6 years. And that is approximately $28 million a year. So before I get into my takes on whether or not I like, love, or hate this extension for Zay Flowers and the Ravens, I do want to say this. A lot of people were automatically, when this news came out, automatically comparing the deal that Zay Flowers just got to, in terms of average money, $35 million a year, to Justin Jefferson, who also currently makes $35 million a year. Okay. And Justin Jefferson signed his last contract in June of 2024. By the way, Miss Fancy Pants, thank you so much for re-upping the membership. Joining the membership, clap it up for Miss Fancy Pants. Getting right back on here, being a member. Lots of perks for members. You guys already know what it is, but let's go ahead, get back to the Zay Flowers talk. Thank you so much, Miss Fancy Pants, again. But yeah, Zay Flowers making this type of money, and you juxtapose it to how much money Justin Jefferson is making, it could be like, oh, that's a little jarring, because there's no way, no NFL fan thinks that Zay Flowers is on par with Justin Jefferson, skill or production-wise, or just career-wise in general. Nobody thinks that. Okay? Nobody thinks that. Not even me, and I'm a diehard Ravens fan. I'm a sicko. I'm a degenerate. Okay? I know a lot of you are as well. But even I understand that Zay Flowers is not better than Justin Jefferson. But it's not about that. It's not about that, because Justin Jefferson signed that deal 2 years ago. It's an extremely obsolete deal for Justin Jefferson today. And when he re-ups on his contract, he'll be right back at the top of the league with the Jackson Smith and Jigbas, the Jamar Chases, and the Drake Londons. So for everybody in the mass media, again, if you're listening to this, maybe you're not a Ravens fan, it's not even necessarily $35 million a year. It's 28. It's 28, which I think is extremely appropriate for Zay Flowers. That's my take on this. Zay Flowers got exactly what he deserved. Exactly what he deserved. I mean, you look at Zay Flowers, he is clearly the Ravens wide receiver one. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, Pro Bowl appearances, whatever you think about those nowadays in 2026. But the guy has gotten consistently better over the years. Now, he does have his shortcomings, and I'm going to get to those in a second. But before I do, here is Coach Jesse Minter sharing his thoughts about Zay Flowers signing earlier today.
For the Ravens, shout out to Zay Flowers. When your best players are just the right type of people, and they bring the right just mentality, and everything marries together. Like, those are the type of guys. It's such a great thing when stuff like that happens for them. Nothing better as a coach than to see those guys get what they deserve. And, so really happy for Zay and excited for him. And just, again, I can't wait to see him thrive in our offense.
Okay.
Great day for the Ravens.
Yes, it is a great day for the Ravens, Jesse Minter. Absolutely. So Zay signs his deal. He's with the Ravens through, I think, 2031 now. 4 years, $140 million. When you actually look at the real numbers, it's 6 years, 28 per year, which, of course, can be renegotiated and things like that down the line. Let's say Zay Flowers goes out and has the next 2 seasons, he just completely just balls out and just outperforms that contract like crazy. He could restructure that, and end up getting more money per year. However, I do believe that now, more than ever, the expectations for Zay Flowers, they've officially gone up. Okay, they've officially gone up. And a lot of the things that we thought were non-factors, just non-issues, really, because Zay Flowers was still on a rookie deal. We weren't paying him a whole boatload of money yet. So who cares if he has certain little mistakes? Who cares if he fumbles the ball a little bit too much? Who cares if he doesn't care to run straight as much as we would like him to as fans? Who cares if he doesn't get in the end zone as much as we would like him to as fans? Now all that changes. Okay, now all of that changes. All right. What did Cam Newton say? We afford the shortcomings. We afford that to young players. But now Zay Flowers is a veteran. Now Zay Flowers is a top 5, top 10 paid wide receiver in this league. So it's time to step up. It's time to take that next step. But see, here's the thing, chat. The reason why I like this deal, maybe a lot more than the next guy, is because of something Jerry Jones once said. Jerry Jones once said, you don't pay a player based off of what they were. You pay a player based off of what you think that they can become in the life of their new deal. And you just let that sink in for a second because it makes a whole lot of sense. I think that Zay Flowers is still an ascending player. So to lock him up for $28 million per year right here and now, when he could go out next season and have 1,400 yards, hopefully somewhere in the 7 to 9 touchdown range. I would love that for him. And it would be like an immediate return on investment for the Ravens. But again, the only way they're going to get that return on investment, the only way, is if we see three things. Again, more touchdowns, less fumbles, more running straight. Okay, and when I say running straight, I don't just mean like, hey, running a straight line. I mean, run through some arm tackles, damn it. If there's one thing, the one gripe that I've had with Zay Flowers is that if somebody even sticks their arm out, he's trying to juke them, he's trying to juke around it and things. No, just run. Sometimes just run through it. Just run through it. Run straight. Run hard. That's what I want from Zay Flowers. Okay? Hopefully that's not too much to ask. Hopefully that's not too much to ask. Let me see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Let me know down below in the comment section if you're part of the replay gang. Do you like, love, or hate this Zay Flowers extension and why? Easy G3 says, I'm just surprised to see some fans that actually think Zay is better than Drake. He's absolutely not better than Drake London. He's absolutely not better than Drake London. Absolutely not. Afia, what's going on? I see you in the chat. Thank you for coming through. Uh-oh, we got a super chat donation. This one's coming from the moderator. Moderator, Tila, dropping the 10-piece in the chat. Thank you so much, Tila. This I know. Here we go.
None of those 5 top paid WRs on that list are the top TD leaders for their team, and they're primarily pass first. They don't have it then with 16 TDs on their team.
Okay. So, Tila. Thank you so much, Tila. Best Nation, donation. Shout out to you. She says, you talk about touchdowns so much, Sutton, but none of those 5 top paid wide receivers on that list are the top touchdown leaders for their team, and they're primarily pass first. They don't have a Derrick Henry with 16 touchdowns on their team. I don't think that that's all the way factual, Tila. I think that Jackson Smith and Jigba had like 9 touchdowns last season, something like that. I would love to know which Seahawks wide receiver had more touchdowns than Jackson Smith and Jigba. Maybe you're talking about the running backs. You know, maybe you're talking about the running backs, and maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. Jamar Chase. T. Higgins finished with more touchdowns than Jamar Chase last season. Now I got to look this up. Let me see. Ain't no backpedaling over here, Q the God. I see you in the chat talking that junk. Let me see. Jamar Chase season stats. Let's see something. I want to see. 2025, Jamar Chase had 8 touchdowns. Let me see how much T. Higgins had. Let me see. Season stats for T. Higgins. Oh, T. Higgins had 11. You were right on that one. I know. Let's see. Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. Season stats. So JSN had 10 touchdowns last season. And then who would be their wide receiver too? It's like I barely even. Oh, Cooper Kupp, right? Last year. Let's see what he finished with. 2 touchdowns for Cooper Kupp. They had to have somebody else who scored a bunch of touchdowns. Let me see. I got to find out now. Because, again, I do value... Oh, Rashid Shaheed joined late in the season. That's right. I forgot about that. Rashid Shaheed finished the season with 2 touchdowns himself, though. Maybe there's somebody else on the team that I'm missing here. And A.J. Barner. 6 touchdowns for A.J. Barner last year. So, no, it looks like Jackson Smith and Jigba led his team in touchdowns. Listen, all I'm saying, Tila, is that I know and you know, and the rest of the chat knows, that the one thing missing from Zay Flowers' game is the ability to get his offense off of the field. Right? Like it's not a hard concept to grasp, I feel like. You know what I mean? And this is not a shot at anybody, but like I just feel like the point of this game is to put up 6. John Madden famously said, I think that the team that scores the most points at the end of the day is going to win the game. And how do you do that? You got to score touchdowns. I can't rely on Zay Flowers to be so dominant between the 20s just for the Ravens to get in the red zone and maybe stumble because they're going up against a good red zone defense, or maybe there was a penalty or something like that after a big Zay Flowers play. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. Jamar Chase, if he catches the ball over that middle, or he catches the ball in open space, he is liable to score on any given play. Same thing with Jackson Smith and Jigba. Drake London, he's more of a possession type of receiver, but in the red zone, he's dominant as well. Zay Flowers just needs to develop that last part of his game. That's all I'm saying. The only reason I talk about touchdowns so much, Tila, is because touchdowns are what matter the most. There's nothing you can do in football to score more points than you do on a touchdown. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. So, yes, I'm critical of Zay because, I mean, I have to be in that regard. I do. Thank you so much, Tila, for the super chat donation. We got another one coming in here from 86 Ghost. 86 Ghost, thank you for dropping the 2 in the chat. Making it rain here on the Purple Rain podcast, Quiet Storm Sports. Bates, extra 14 games and only one more touchdown than Zay. Bates, extra 14 games and only one more touchdown than Zay. Oh, and like career-wise. I see what you're saying. 86 Ghost. Yeah, so think about Rashad Bateman. Spent a lot of his first couple of seasons of his career banged up, right? And then once you saw they drafted Zay Flowers, it clearly shifted towards Lamar Jackson said, oh, I got my guy and I got a Florida boy in here at wide receiver. It's like Hollywood 2.0, which I still think Zay Flowers is like Hollywood 2.0. He's better than Hollywood, don't get me wrong, but Hollywood 2.0 nonetheless. Okay. I don't think that's crazy to say. But yeah, I'm not looking for Bate to be my wide receiver 1, right? I'm not. None of us are. We're looking at Rashad Bateman to be a solid wide receiver 2. And everything he's shown us in camp so far shows us that he will. 86 Ghost with the gifted membership in the chat. Thank you so much, 86 Ghost. 86 Ghost gifting the membership, becoming Santa Claus here at the Purple Rain podcast. Jeremiah was the recipient of that membership. So thank you so much, 86 Ghost. Jeremiah, you're now a bunch of perks. Real quick. Members. Rain Gang Fantasy League will be for members only. We're going to be selecting about 10 or 11 members because I got to incorporate me and Alex into the game as well. 10 or 11 members we're going to randomly select for our fantasy league, but you do have to submit that you want to be in it, right? So it's kind of going to be filtered between members and members who are interested. You know, we'll take 10, we'll select random 10, and that'll be our fantasy league, our Rain Gang Fantasy League this year. Okay, so that's another perk of being a member. Of course, our membership giveaways are coming back. They're coming back. The season's rolling around. We will be giving away another jersey here soon. Let me see. Uh-oh, there's another one. Oh, crap. 86 Ghost gifting another membership. I think he did 3. It's kind of crazy. 86 Ghost, thank you so much, man. 86 Ghost making it rain here. Let's clap it up for him. That's huge. Okay, Smitty86 says best drafted Ravens receiver, talking about Zay Flowers. Absolutely. You're right about that. I'm not taking that away from him. It just kind of goes to show how bad we are at drafting wide receivers. Am I right? But I do think that narrative could change. Soon and very soon. And I'm going to get into that on the next part of the show. I am. Okay, by the way, over 100 people watching live right now. Thank y'all so much. Please be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Let me read through some more of your comments here about Zay Flowers. Remember, if you're watching the replay, comment down below your thoughts on everything I'm saying here. Jeremiah, newest member in the chat, says touchdowns are like sacks. A great stat, but only part of the story. You're right about that. But I think that in terms of impact on the game, a touchdown is worth more than a sack. I think that that's safe to say. Very safe to say. Tanja Bowman says, what's Florida got to do with anything? I mean, it's clear. Those guys they just have this chemistry. There's this synergy between Lamar Jackson. There always has been. Same thing was with Lamar and Hollywood, right? They're both from Florida. they both grew up playing football the exact same way, right? Zay Flowers fits that exact same mold too. So you get what I'm saying. You get what I'm saying. Those guys have a lot of chemistry. And that's why I'm glad that they paid him as well. This is Lamar's guy. This is Lamar's guy. Another super chat donation from Dylan Bauer. Thank you so much, Dylan Bauer, dropping the 2-piece in the chat. Says Bateman should be wide receiver 6. Damn, where's my book? I think Dylan's already in the book. I'm pretty sure Dylan's already in the book. The book is across the room right now. I should go get it, but I think Dylan's already in it. Don't. And see, I haven't even brought up Rashad Bateman's name like that on this episode, but we can go there. Y'all know we can go there. We can go there anytime. Anytime. Thank you so much, Dylan. Let me see. Love West says, Sutton, you said it's the touchdowns for you. What would be your reaction if Zay this year had 1,500 yards with 5 touchdowns? Would you like or still be like, nah? It's kind of a similar year to what he had last season, right? Because what he had, like 1,200, like over 1,200 yards or something like that. So an extra 300 on top of that with still the same amount of touchdowns, that would still bother me. It would still bother me. Because look, again, I love 1,000-yard seasons just as much as the next guy. But if you're not ever really threatening to score, then what are we doing? What are we doing? You know, because to me, it seems, I mean, having a bunch of yards, but not being able to threaten a defense or like take the top of a defense, which in turn changes their game plan for you. If they know that like once you get in open space, you could be gone. And teams still treat Zay Flowers like that to a degree. But he doesn't threaten teams the way that he should, after the catch. That's my opinion. But having all those yards and not a whole lot of touchdowns, it seems like some of those yards are empty calories. That's me. And you guys know that about me. I've said that multiple times on this show. That's why I said, Love West, I'm looking for like 7+. Give me 7+, Zay, and I'll shut the hell up. I will shut the entire hell up if Zay Flowers can just give me 7 touchdowns. You know, it's a problem for me when you go 12 straight games without a touchdown. That's a problem for me. As our wide receiver 1, that's a problem for me. I love the fact that you can, on 3rd and 9, you can get downfield and get lost in the zone, catch a big ball, and now the Ravens are in the red zone. But if the Ravens can't score in the red zone, what did it matter? What did it matter? You know? That's just me. So I'm looking for 7+. I need 7+ out of Zay. And $35 million plus per year, it should not be crazy to ask for that. It's not crazy to ask for that. Right? Like, there's guys on our team who make boatloads of money, who are on huge contracts. Roquan Smith, Marlon Humphrey. We get pissed as fans when they don't show up. We get pissed that Roquan Smith, perfect example. Perfect example. Roquan Smith. Perfect example. And Dylan with another super chat. I'm going to get to that in a second. Roquan Smith will consistently finish top 5 in tackles. Yet you ask any Ravens fans, he had a down year. Oh, Roquan Smith is not that. He's not living up to his contract. But he's damn good at being a middle linebacker and filling the gaps. Right? But no, we want that extra, we want those TFLs, we want those sacks, we want those turnovers. That's what we want, right? That's what constitutes a good season for Roquan Smith, not just tackling. It's the same thing for me with Zay Flowers. Like 1,000 yards is cool. 1,200 is better. 1,500 is great. But at the end of the day, if you're not getting in that end zone, look, dog, the contract's not worth it. And that's what makes it a little bit scary for me, because I have a feeling, right? I have a feeling that we probably will get another season similar to what Love West said in that previous chat. And the chat's moving extremely fast right now. So I'm sorry if I don't get to your message because it's going crazy right now. But yeah, I mean, that's just my opinion, though. That's just my opinion. Let me get to this super chat donation from, let me see, Dylan. Dylan, it's not my fault. Jacoby, Surratt, Tez, and Zay are better than Rashad Bateman, I'm assuming you are referring to here. We're going to see, brother. We're going to see. I think Zay's got him beat, of course. Jacoby, can't say that yet. Sorry. Can't say that yet. Not yet. Surratt, hell no. Can't say that yet. Tez, nope. Sorry. But Zay, I'll give it to Zay, of course. Zay's our wide receiver one. He's our wide receiver one. All right. All right. Oh, Tay meaning LeJontay Wester? Hell no. Come on, dog. You tripping now. Dylan, you tripping now. Thank you for the super chat donations, but you tripping now. Justin Hayes says scheme will provide Zay with more touchdowns this year, but he has been making up for the lack of receiving production 2020. I hope, for the scheme to provide him more touchdowns this season, that means he's going to be more of a red zone target. And with guys like Bateman and Mark Andrews and now Jacoby Lane, I just don't see, the Ravens are within the 10-yard line where everything's bunched up. There's not a whole lot of real estate for Zay Flowers to run around and do a bunch of stuff unless you're going to get him the ball behind the line of scrimmage and, manufacture his touches that way, which I don't prefer. Like screens and all that. No, I don't prefer that. But when you're that close in, Lamar's going to throw to those big body targets all day. Zay Flowers even mentioned it himself in a podcast earlier this offseason, the one he did with Jarvis Landry and Leonard Fournette. He mentioned how, in the red zone, they want to throw to those big guys, and I get it. He understands. Zay Flowers, for as skilled as he is, he is a little bit slight in size, and that does impact, his effectiveness down low in the red zone. Let me see. Spicy Rice says also just keep in mind that Zay Flowers got 70 plus targets every year. And Bates' biggest year, he got 45. That's a fact. Zay Flowers had almost 50 more targets than anybody else on the Ravens last year. Almost 50. I think it was 48 to be exact. Next closest receiver or pass catcher was Mark Andrews. Let me see. JD, what up? We use Zay like a gadget guy and not a true wide receiver one. This year, we're going to use him as a true wide receiver one, and I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it either, brother. Can't wait to see it either. All right, let me see. I see Zay getting 1,500 yards and 8-ish TDs. That would be phenomenal. That would be phenomenal. Right? If you can give me a touchdown at least every other game, Zay Flowers, if you can give me that, but just don't go 12 games without taking care of me with a touchdown. I can't do that. I just can't do that. All right. Fia says, you don't have to keep saying it like that. He's our. We get it. No, I have to say it like that. I got to stay consistent. Okay. Oh, wait. Let me see. I don't want to miss Tanja. Another member in the chat. Thank you so much, Tanja, says, Zay shows up. What are you talking about? Zay was the only one that showed up last season. DBs knew he was getting the ball and couldn't stop him. He shows up. I didn't say he didn't show up, but I'm just saying I need more scores. That's all. Zay Flowers is not a bad wide receiver. Don't get it twisted. I think Zay Flowers deserves his contract. I think Zay Flowers is an ascending talent, right? And like I said, I think it makes sense that they paid him based off of what they believe he will become, because I believe he can become that too, especially in this new scheme. But I just got to wait and see. Because I know they can say one thing. We can say one thing, right? Zay Flowers, he's ascending and he's going to get better and better and better like he has been the past couple of seasons. But until I see him again, until I see Lamar Jackson favor him more in the red zone, or him just simply catch the ball over the middle, run straight through a couple of arm tackles, kind of like his counterparts Jamar Chase does, kind of like a Jackson Smith and Jigba would do. Kind of like a lot of these other guys, these top wide receivers in the league. They don't care about your arm tackles. They don't have to juke 6, 7, 8, 9 times, right? And risk a defender getting a great angle on them to punch the ball out. That's another thing. The fumbles, you got to clean those up. For $35 million a year, you got to clean up them damn fumbles. All right, especially in big moments. I get it, joystick trying to make things happen, sure. But you can't put the ball on the ground when you're getting paid $35 million a year. You just can't. I'm sorry. Or $28 million a year. Excuse me. You just can't do that. So that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Okay. So I made a live just to harp on Zay's shortcomings. Did I not start this take off by saying I love the signing because I want Zay Flowers in Baltimore because I think he's gonna get better? That's what I started with. Okay, that's what I started with. So let's not act like I'm just shitting on Zay Flowers over here. I'm not. I'm holding him accountable for the things I would want to hold my wide receiver one, who's getting paid top 5 money, accountable for. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Even though I'm not a Lamar Jackson fan. I'm a Ravens fan to the death of me. I will still hold our players accountable when need be. I've done it for Lamar Jackson too. I got to tell the truth. Or at least I got to tell my truth. How about that? How about that? All right. Okay. I think we can go ahead and move on from the Zay Flowers talk. I think we can move on. Zay is who he is, and he's going to clean up some stuff and get better. Leave it at that. What are we doing here? Yeah. I mean, if you wanted to join this live stream so you could hear just cookie cutter, oh my God, I love Zay Flowers. He's the best wide receiver ever. He has no flaws at all. Sorry, you're not getting that here at PRP. You're not getting that here at PRP. You can go somewhere else and watch somebody who's only going to praise Zay and not hold him accountable for the things that he needs to be held accountable for. Again, much like we hold Roquan Smith accountable for being top 5 in tackles every year, but we still say that he's declining. He's not doing anything. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And these are like our number one options at these positions. Before y'all go, oh, well, what about Rashad Bateman? So you know y'all love to do that. Y'all love to do that to your boy. And it's not fair. All right, let me move on here. Y'all make me mad. Which y'all love to do, by the way. But you know I love y'all at the end of the day. At the end of the day. And I can't wait to be proved wrong by Zay Flowers. I can't wait for Zay Flowers to go out there and put up those 7 to 10 touchdowns so I can finally shut the hell up. Right? Anywho's, back to business here. So, outside of Zay Flowers, of course, that was the biggest news of the day. He did not practice today. And we kind of should have known. We should have put the context clues together, right? It's the 4th of the month. You know, he's not practicing for whatever. Like, why would he not be practicing? Obviously, he's celebrating. Shout out to Zay Flowers. Congratulations to him. I'll say that. Congratulations to Zay Flowers. That is a boatload of money. He's got a boatload of family. How many siblings, guys? Like, what, 11, 12 siblings, something like that? 13 siblings, something like that? And then, of course, he's got other family as well. So, got a lot of mouths to feed, a lot of people to take care of. And so I'm sure that this contract is certainly a blessing for his family. And I couldn't be happier and more proud of Zay for that. Okay, however I feel about what he does on the football field or what he doesn't do on the football field, that aside, that man did deserve to get paid his money. Every cent of it. Every dollar, every cent of it. And I'm glad he did. Okay. I think it's time to go ahead and get into day 6 of Ravens training camp. That's right. Day 6 of Ravens training camp went in the books today. And we're going to talk about it. Let's have a discussion, guys. So I have this pulled up here. The practice report, the full practice report from today's training camp. The headline is Jacoby Lane steals the show once again. So Jacoby Lane is stacking days. He's stacking days now at this point, guys. And, you know, I mentioned earlier that we do have one wide receiver, one on our team in Zay Flowers, but now we could potentially, keyword potentially, have another on our hands. Okay, so I'm going to go through this practice report. We're going to take a look at the crazy Jacoby catch together and react to it together. Let me see. So here's where it starts off by saying the Jacoby Lane hype train might be leaving the station soon. Entering this week, the fourth round rookie wideout had already shown off his elite length and strong hands. His leaping grab over the middle last week had been the best catch of camp up to that point. Then came Tuesday's practice when Lane one-upped himself. Facing a 3rd and long, Lane ran an out-breaking route towards the right sideline and was covered well by Nate Wiggins. As he was falling backward, Lane stuck out his hand, his right hand, and made a ridiculous one-handed catch. Let's actually take a look at that one-handed catch here. Don't need the music. All good on that. But look at this. So it's an out route. It's an out route. Lamar Jackson, by the way, throws an absolute dime. An absolute dime. Take a look at this. Probably the cleanest spiral. I mean, it looks like there's no wobble on that ball at all. And let me slow this down. Let me slow it down a little bit. I know y'all hate when I loop videos, but damn it, I'm going to do it for Jacoby Lane. But look at this. It's an out route. It looks like it's going to a back shoulder, but he has to adjust back inside. Honestly, a brilliant throw by Lamar Jackson to not lead Jacoby Lane out of bounds. He wants him to stay in bounds here. And he wants to kind of, I guess, maybe test Jacoby Lane to see, hey, look, if you need to catch this with the defender draped all over you along the boundary, can you do it? And Jacoby Lane passed the test right here. My favorite part probably wasn't even the catch. Let me tell you why. Before we break down a little bit more of the catch, let me tell you why. Just phenomenal catch, but this is why I love Jacoby Lane so much. The confidence. As soon as he gets up, the second he gets off the ground, he's already staring the camera dead in his face. Like, yeah, like, I'm here. You feel me? Like, that is, you talk about a supreme confidence. Michael Thomas, former Saints wide receiver, mentioned earlier today on his Twitter account that when a guy feels like you can't guard him, guess what? You're not going to guard him. Michael Thomas gave his stamp of approval for Jacoby Lane. All right. Dez Bryant, Cowboys legend, gave his stamp of approval for Jacoby Lane. He actually did it months ago. Hey, Dez Bryant was ahead of the curve. But he came back today and said, hey, look, I told y'all this dude is like that. Dez Bryant may be trying to throw his hat in the ring of like a wide receiver scout or whatever. But so far, it's looking like he's going to be right about this kid. That's what it's looking like. Chad Ochocinco. Don't know if any of you guys have heard of him, right? But he also gave a stamp of approval for Jacoby Lane on Twitter earlier today. And again, just an immaculate catcher against the Ravens cornerback one, Nate Wiggins. Against Nate Wiggins. This is a crazy adjustment of Jacoby Lane's body, catching it way outside of his frame. Way outside of where he actually has leverage to make this catch comfortably. And he makes the catch look about as comfortable as Odell Beckham made that catch all the way back when in 2014? Because he catches it with his fingers mainly. He doesn't even get the bulk of the ball on his palm on first contact. That is what amazes me the most about this catch. And that just goes to show the hand size. You can't make catches like this if you don't have the hand size for it. You just can't. Look how clean he brings that in. There was no bobble. There's nothing. I was a little critical of one yesterday where you caught the deep ball and it was a little bobble, little fumble at the end of it, but he ended up hauling it in. You know, but this one is so clean. And you only get this when you have this hand size. 10.5-inch hands are going to get this done. Because he had to rely solely on that one hand to make the catch. He couldn't get his other hand on it, right? He couldn't bring it into his body. Immediately, his first point of contact was those four fingers. And he brings it in, tucks it to his body, and that would have been a catch inbounds. Immediately, again, looks up at the camera, knowing he's that guy. Man, I could not be more excited for Jacoby Lane and what he's going to bring to this offense. I really couldn't. I want to know what you guys thought about this catch, though. What did you guys think about this catch? Let me read the chat. Purple City, what's good? All right. Coach said, whoa on the Odell take. So it wasn't quite the same, right? Odell was obviously a lot more impressive. That was a bomb for a touchdown that he actually caught with three fingers. But my point is, the first point of contact being the fingers, and for you to be able to control and corral that ball like that and bring it in, that's impressive, coach. That's impressive, right? Normally, you get a guy who's trying to catch a ball like this. Oh, here's another one. Deep ball over the top. Rainbow ball from Lamar Jackson to Jacoby Lane, and he hauls it in for what would have been a touchdown. Beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff. But normally, for this catch right here, normally when a guy wants to make this catch, his hands aren't big enough to corral the ball just off of one fluid movement. He's got to maybe like tip it to himself, something like that, which in this case, he probably would have went out of bounds. It would have been an incomplete pass. But the fact that Jacoby Lane has this size. I know we say all the time, size isn't a skill, but damn it, it's an advantage. And it's seeming like here, Jacoby Lane is kind of marrying the two. Using his size to his advantage, but also developing his skills in the meantime. Man, I'm excited for this kid. I'm super excited for this kid. Let me actually go through and read a little bit more here on what Jacoby Lane did today. So let's see. We covered the Nate Wiggins one. Of course, there was another one as well where TJ Tampa was in coverage. That's the one that's I think was on the screen now in this same clip right here. But moving on from that, Jacoby Lane, Ravens went through same one-on-one drills they did Monday that pitted wide receivers against defensive backs. Jacoby Lane made the most of his reps. Facing Marlon Humphrey, Jacoby Lane shook free after being jammed for a few yards and cut hard to the left, sending Humphrey stumbling to the ground. In the wake of oohs and ahs from the crowd, Lane made an easy catch over the middle. So that's not pictured here, right? That's not pictured here, this little excerpt that I just read. But Marlon Humphrey, I just want to say this, the guy's free eats at this point. Everybody's eating on Marlon Humphrey's accord. I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. I've accepted that Marlon Humphrey more than likely washed. We're probably not going to get all-pro Marlo back ever again. I think those days are dead and gone, well behind us. It is what it is, though. It is what it is. But the fact that Marlon Humphrey, who is known to be, a physical physical slot corner, get his hands on guys and then run with them, right? The fact that Marlon Humphrey was not able to jam up this rookie successfully, like he tried, but Jacoby Lane used his size to uncover for Marlon Humphrey, sent Marlon Humphrey to the ground, ended up getting wide open over the middle and hauls in an easy catch. Because that was our biggest fear. That was our biggest worry. Is he going to be able to get off the line against these AFC North DBs? And I know I just talked a bunch of trash about Marlon Humphrey, even though it's really just truth. It's not even trash. It's truth. I think Jacoby Lane will be just fine. In terms of the physicality in this league, I think he'll be just fine. I said sometime later, Jacoby Lane faced TJ Tampa. The rookie shook TJ Tampa with a stutter step a few yards into his route, then hauled in an over-the-shoulder catch down the right sideline. Yeah, that was the one we just watched as well. So it's still early in training camp, but it's hard to watch Lane without getting excited about his potential. He has continued to flash and make those type of plays. Head coach Jesse Minter said, as for anybody, you're always searching for consistency down after down. Again, the more he shows Lamar Jackson that he's making those type of plays, the more trust they build. And that's really what training camp and what practice is all about. So before we get into some more notes of the other events from today's training camp, I just want to speak really quick on what that means in terms of Lamar Jackson and his trust that he's building and the chemistry that he's building with Jacoby Lane. I've mentioned multiple times on this show that I do believe that Jacoby Lane is going to be the next Isaiah Likely on this team. Big body target where when Lamar Jackson, feels like he's got a guy one-on-one, or maybe Lamar Jackson is in trouble, he wants to get it to somebody who he believes can either come down with the football or at the very least bat it down and prevent an interception. Jacoby Lane's going to be that guy. Newsflash, Jacoby Lane is absolutely going to be that guy. Super chat donation. This one is coming from Parlay Hardaway. Thank you so much, Parlay Hardaway. Dropping the 5-piece in the chat. See what he's talking about here. It says, never seen 7 attempt a one-handed catch. He can barely catch with 2. 6 greater than 7, hashtag F that book, hashtag all love, hashtag purple rain gang. Thank you so much, Parlay Hardaway. I appreciate your super chat donation. Thank you for all the support, brother. I truly do. But in terms of Rashad Bateman never making a one-handed catch, I don't think that's true. I'm pretty sure we've seen Bateman make one-handed catches before. I'd have to go back and look because most of his catches are with 2, but he's made some high difficulty catches too. Let's not get it twisted now. It's not like Rashad Bateman is every catch that he hauls in is just a layup. I mean, we saw that at the training camp on Saturday, right? He can catch out his frame too. I mean, he may not be catching one-handed balls like left and right, but he can make some high degree of difficulty catches too. And I cannot say that Jacoby Lane is just flat out better than Rashad Bateman right now. I need to see it in an actual game. As hype as I am, just like y'all, okay, just like y'all for Jacoby Lane, as hype as I am, I do still have to see it in the game. And we got 11 days until the Ravens take on the Eagles in that preseason game. And we'll see then. I really don't think he's going to get a whole lot of reps, especially with how much he's kind of flashing in training camp. He might get a drive or 2, right? A possession or 2. You'll see Jacoby Lane out there. But after that, now get on the bench, brother. Get on the bench. We need you. We need you. Because at this point, it's looking like it's going to be wide receiver 1, Zay, wide receiver 2, Bateman, and wide receiver 3, Jacoby Lane. That's what it's looking like right now. Thank you so much, Parlay. I appreciate you, brother. Appreciate that. Ted's better than Bateman? Absolutely not, King Blaze. Absolutely not. Queendom Come, what up? What up? I don't know why y'all want to give away Rashad Bateman's wide receiver 2 spot. I don't get it. Let me see. Chargers game from a couple years ago. That was a really tough catch. A deep ball. Guy was draped all over him. I think it might have even been a flag, a defensive pass interference, and he still came down with it. Rashad Bateman has made some catches. He's made some plays. You're talking about some film where it didn't happen, Void. It's out there. It's public information. Okay, let me see. Bucks game. I remember that one too. Another super chat donation from, let me see, Parlay Hardaway dropping the $1.99. Thank you so much. Says 7 is too inconsistent. Thought he was going to be that guy. That's fair. We haven't really seen a bunch of consistency in Rashad Bateman's career thus far, but I do think that you can attribute that to a number of things, right? I think when you look at the Rashad Bateman's best season was 2024, right? And the 2 things that were in common in that season that you didn't really have in common with the other seasons, I would say, aside from 23, you had decent offensive line play and a healthy Bateman. And in that year, I think he showed why he was a first-round pick. I do. Most of those other years, either Bateman was banged up, the offensive line was trash. You guys remember the who was that trash tackle that we had who was like in the army or whatever? I can't remember his name. It's escaping me. Back when we had those atrocious offensive lines, center problems, snaps going all over the place and stuff like that. Or maybe that was a little bit after that. I can't quite remember. Damn, these years fly by. Damn, they fly by. Jeez, but you get my point. 7 is inconsistent. He is. But they would argue the same thing about a lot of other players on our team too. They would. Villanueva. Yes. Oh, I hated that guy. Bateman is a good player, especially for the price tag. And that's another thing about the whole Zay Flowers discussion, guys. Like I said, more is expected of you when you guys seen Spider-Man. You know how they say, with great power comes great responsibility. With great pay comes great responsibility, damn it. Right? And Rashad Bateman, he ain't getting no great pay. He is on a discount sweetheart deal for the Ravens. discount deal. So when he has his shortcomings, I'm not looking at him like, oh, well, dude, you're taking up 15-20% of the cap. No, I'm not looking at him like that because he's not. Okay, he's not. All right. But he is good for his price tag. Let me see. We had another super chat donation. I believe this one is for Kwame. Thank you, Kwame. It says bait is 1B. Argue with your mama. I think he's firmly 2 right now. Until proven otherwise in the regular season, Kwame. He's firmly locked in at 2. Zay is 1. Bateman is 2. But if Bateman comes out this season and he's proven to be one of Lamar Jackson's more reliable targets, which we've seen him be that before, then you maybe, I don't know. Maybe you could start to see that 1A, 1B sort of thing with Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman. Then, of course, there's Jacoby Lane. Who I have to get back to now. And the rest of the offense. Okay. Thank you so much, Kwame. Thank you so much, Parlay Hardaway. Dylan, for your super chat donations. We appreciate that here at PRP. Guys, we have almost 200 people watching the live right now. Thank you so much, guys. Please be sure. Like the video, sub to the channel as well. JR says, all I can say, if you're a betting person, bet the over on Bates yards. See, JR, we on the same wavelength here. We're gonna make a lot of money betting on the Rashad Bateman overs. I can't wait for the Purple Rain parlay segments this year. I can't wait for them. I can't. All right, back to it. Touchdowns too. What's up, world class? Let me see. So back to it. So what else happened today in Ravens training camp? Day 6 of Ravens training camp. So Zay Flowers sat out of practice after inking a contract extension, of course. Mentor said he should be back on the field tomorrow. Even without Zay Flowers, the first team offense had a productive day. The unit scored a touchdown on its opening drive of 11 on 11. That started with Jalen Hawkins sacking Jackson early in the possession, but the offense was sparked by that Jacoby Lane phenomenal third down catch that he had on Nate Wiggins and moved down the field efficiently after that. And then Derrick Henry capped off that drive with a rushing touchdown from a few yards out. So the offense is striking back. It seems like the offense and the defense are very, very balanced right now, which I love. I love that. I could not be more pleased to hear that you have one day the defense is kind of dominating, the next day the offense punches back, and then the next day it's kind of like both of them are back and forth. It should be like that tug of war, right? It shouldn't be lopsided. So I think we're looking good right now. Let me continue through these notes. The second team offense also put together a nice drive, which was highlighted by a deep pass from Tyler Huntley to Devontae Walker and a toe tap touchdown catch by Xavier Guillory in the back of the end zone. Real quick on Guillory, I don't think he's going to make the team, at least not as a wide receiver. I just practice squad, maybe special teams, that sort of thing. But unfortunately, Guillory, you're not going to make. I think they roster 6. So 6 wide receivers. So Zay, Bate, Tez, Lane, Surratt, and Wester. Those 6. But shout out to Xavier Guillory having a nice toe tap touchdown. We love to hear that. And then Tez Walker still making plays. So Tez Walker, man, while I know Jacoby Lane is the hot new, item, right, that the Ravens have now, that everybody is like, oh my goodness, we've never seen this, but he's new, right? So we have high expectations and we really want to see what he can do. We've kind of seen what Tez has to offer, right? Like Tez, he can be a deep threat. You can send him on seam routes, things like that. And he can kind of get lost in translation with the rest of the things, teams trying to lock up Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews. And all of a sudden 81 is on top of your defense, right? And Lamar Jackson has given it to him down the field. So Tez Walker versus Jacoby Lane, I think in preseason, Tez Walker probably will have, I got to ask you guys, do you think that Tez Walker or Jacoby Lane will see more playing time in the preseason? Drop it down below in the comments. Let me know in the chat as well. Like the video if you could. But do you think that Jacoby Lane or Devontae Walker will see more opportunities in the preseason? And the reason why I asked that question is because whoever gets the most opportunities, right, I think that they will make plays. And whoever makes more plays in preseason and kind of separates themselves there, and then also the joint practices as well, that's probably who's going to get the nod when the Ravens run 11 personnel and they trot out 3 wide receivers on the field. So it'll be interesting. Like I said again, it'll be interesting to see who gets on the field. Ashley says, "Sudden, can you stop hating on Zay?" I'm not hating on Zay. Ashley, I'm not hating on Zay. I know you're a Bateman supporter just like me, but I'll take the arrows. I'll take the arrows for you. Don't worry about it. Let me see. Who's gonna get more? Who's gonna get more? Justin says Jacoby. Blaze says Tez. Kwame says Tez has more to prove. ISO says Tez. The man says Lane. So y'all are split on this. Extremely split. Extremely split. Afia, we're going to talk about Wester too. Don't worry about it. We're going to talk about Wester. I heard about him too. Thank you for reminding me. Mike says Lane. I'm not stubborn. I'm not stubborn. I'm very open-minded, actually. Very open-minded. Chris, my good sis Chris. What's going on, Chris? Thank you for coming through as well. But yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know who's going to get more playing time in the preseason. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I'm counting who's getting more plays with the ones. Exactly. That's what I want to see too. That's what I want to see too, brother. Okay. Let's go ahead and move on here. What else do we have from training camp today? So the offense did its thing, like we mentioned, but the defense also stepped up and made some plays today too. So we got to talk about the defense just like we talked about this offense. So that being said, the defense also tallied a handful of positive plays, including a few takeaways. One came from Nate Wiggins, who intercepted Lamar on a pass over the middle that was intended for Lane during the 7-on-7 period. All right. Let me see. Love to hear that. Nate Wiggins. There was also a scare from Nate Wiggins. I thought that, I haven't gotten to that yet. Okay, cool. I haven't gotten to that yet. Perfect. Let me see. Okay, so here it is. Jalen Hawkins crashed into Nate Wiggins from behind, and Nate Wiggins was down on his back for a minute before walking slowly off the field with trainers. Wiggins returned for the positional drills and said after practice that he simply got the wind knocked out of him. So it was a scare, a little bit of a scare. Nate Wiggins laying flat on the field after getting hit in practice. We don't know what his injury is, what might have happened, but he confirmed later at his presser that he just got the wind knocked out of him because he actually rejoined practice and, he participated in 11-on-11s that took place after those 7-on-7s did. So Nate Wiggins made some plays, got a little banged up, but he's going to be good. We love to hear that. Love to hear that. Earlier in practice, you had David Olajiga picking off Lamar Jackson on a short pass over the middle. Olajiga was stripped on the return, though, and Danny Pinter recovered. Olajiga also stopped Henry deep in the backfield and knocked away a screen pass from Lamar that was intended for Henry. So this David Olajiga dude, he's actually doing all right. He's doing all right. I think he's earning his keep. Of course, you don't want to see him fumbling the ball on the return, which lets you know them boys is out there hitting now. Okay, them boys is out there getting physical with it now. But we have heard David Olajiga's name pop up, and he's a big guy on the D line, right? What's his official listing? Let me see. Because I was probably last week years old when I found out who this man was. So it just says defensive tackle. Okay. 6'3", 315, 28 years old. All right. Not mad at you, young man. Not mad at you, young man. Want to hear his name some more, though. Maybe preseason we can see what he does on that D-line. I mean, the more depth, the better on the D-line, to tell you the truth. The more depth, the better. During 11-on-11, you had Amani Oruwariye jumping on a route in the deep middle part of the field and intercepted Skylar Thompson. During 7-on-7, Marquise Robinson picked off Skylar Thompson on a rainbow toward the right sideline. Moments later, Cornelius Johnson made a nice catch over the middle, but he was soon stripped by Robert Longerbeam, who recovered the loose ball. So Robert Longerbeam, he's also another one sneakily been making plays. We drafted him last year, I believe, in 2025. He got hurt, so he hasn't played an NFL game yet, I believe. But he's kind of earning his keep as well. He's making his name known. We'll love to see what he has to do in the joint practices and preseason as well. There's going to be so many guys to look out for. It's not going to be one of those preseasons where like you can just watch like the first drive or two and then you can just kind of turn it off. right? And just be like, yeah, it's just guys that I don't care. No, I care about a lot of these guys. Again, I'm a sicko. When it comes to these Ravens. So I'm going to be watching all 4 quarters, probably every single snap, to see who's performing and who ain't. Okay. Moving on here. So during 11 on 11, Wiggins had a diving deflection facing LaJohntay Wester along the right sideline. Wester also came down with a contested catch against Wiggins. After losing a one-on-one rep to Lane earlier in practice, TJ Tampa got a get back with a textbook pass breakup on 3rd and 5 while guarding Matthew Hibner. During 7 on 7, you had Chido Awuzie having a pass breakup while guarding Elijah Surratt. And not too long after, Keon Martin broke up a pass while defending Xavier Guillory that was almost intercepted by Jay Higgins IV off of the deflection. So what do I take from this? The main thing I take from this, LaJohntay Wester making plays quietly but surely on our best corner, which is a little concerning to me that Wiggins is kind of getting beat by, the likes of Wester, the likes of Lane. Like, I just don't know what we're going to get from Nate. I don't know what the level of consistency we're going to get from Nate Wiggins come season time. I just don't know. I think that in the Jesse Minter scheme and Mike Mickens also teaching him some more fundamentals and things like that, I want to say he's going to have a bounce back year, but Nate Wiggins is just a guy who I got to see. After 3 weeks, I'll be able to tell you more about how I feel about Nate Wiggins. I think he'll do okay, but I'd love to see just a little bit more consistency out of him. That's all. Matthew Hibner is a guy who wasn't mentioned a whole bunch today, but apparently he is leading all tight ends in receptions in training camp so far. And he's a rookie. So what does that tell you about 89? I'll leave that to you. Keon Martin also making his name known. I love that. Keon Martin having a very good training camp. Another guy we'll be watching in the preseason, looking at very closely. And of course, same thing with TJ Tampa. Jay Higgins is another one too. I want to see more of Jay Higgins. I don't know about y'all, but I need to see Jay Higgins get some more opportunities. Okay. So it says here the 7-on-7 period was not all doom and gloom for the offense as Huntley hit a wide open Wester deep over the middle for a long touchdown. Okay. So love to hear that. And then also both the first and second team offenses ran what looked like a tempo drill toward the end of practice. Jackson hit Andrews for a chunk gain over the middle and then connected with Jacoby Lane on an out route before the second team took the field. Tyler Huntley then hit Chris Moore for a solid gain on the first play, and Huntley hustled to spike the ball, but Adam Randall could not get back to the line of scrimmage in time before Huntley snapped the ball, and the rookie was flagged for illegal formation. So I'm sure the coaches probably chewed out Adam Randall for not being where he needed to be when he needed to be there, and they're getting a penalty for that. I'm sure they probably chewed him out for that. But hey, look, rookie mistakes. He'll learn from that. But outside of that, I love the fact that, I love the idea, rather, of running a more up-tempo, faster-paced offense. You've always been able to do that with Lamar Jackson. I think that with Declan Doyle, you guys heard in the past couple of weeks where Declan Doyle and Lamar Jackson mainly talked about how Doyle wants him to be able to execute a lot faster, process a lot faster, get to the line, and we already know, like, process of elimination. Okay, we know this is here. We're looking at this coverage here, so I'm going to be hot coming from this side. This is going to be my first read, like all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like all that stuff. And I think that being able to process faster mentally on offense, and that goes for the entire offense, right? Being able to process faster mentally on offense will lead to the Ravens playing a lot faster just naturally. And with Lamar Jackson, if the Ravens start going up tempo on you and it's working, it's kind of over. It's kind of over. As long as the defense, as long as nobody has a stupid turnover or anything like, we saw this in the Bills game, I believe in 2024, the playoff game, right? The Ravens started rolling over the Bills. You guys remember that? You guys remember that, like that 80-yard, 90-yard touchdown drive that the Ravens had in like the third quarter, or maybe it's like early fourth quarter. I can't remember. But if I do remember correctly, the Ravens were running some sort of like up-tempo style offense there, and the Bills couldn't stop it. They had no answers. Unfortunately, of course, Mark Andrews had to fumble the ball, and we had all the momentum in our hands, and that was that, So, but I love to hear that they are trying to get more up-tempo with their offense. I love that. Moving on here, so it also says defensive linemen and offensive linemen went one-on-one toward the end of practice, and highlights included Carson Vincent stonewalling Zion Young and Broderick Washington Jr. getting past Danny Pinter. So do I love hearing that Zion Young is getting stonewalled by, when was Carson Vincent drafted? Like 6th round, maybe 7th round, something like that. Do I love hearing my second rounder getting stonewalled by a 6th or 7th rounder? Not so much. I don't. But I'm going to give Zion Young the benefit of the doubt, because what I've seen from him so far, especially in that stadium practice, I know a lot of you were there. He looked powerful, looked violent. And I get it, they didn't have pads on out there, but I'm still looking forward to seeing Zion Young in the next couple of days here at practice. And then, of course, going to that preseason game too. I want to see what he does. Because Zion Young, he's not as refined as a pass rusher right now, at least not from the outside. Like, I feel like he could probably rush a little bit more from the inside, just kind of use his power to like throw his weight around a little bit, as opposed to going one-on-one with a tackle on the outside, like an NFL level tackle on the outside. We kind of saw the same thing happen to Mike Green. It took him a little while. To kind of get used to rushing around the edge on pro level talent, pro level tackles. So we'll see what Zion Young can develop in that department. But I mean, hey, look, if Carson Vincent is stepping up, more depth on the O-line is not a bad thing. Never a bad thing. And to wrap it up, at the very end of practice, you had Elijah Surratt making a wildly difficult catch despite being blanketed by Chandler Rivers. So Elijah Surratt, who's kind of been quiet so far in training camp, we haven't really heard too much from him. But today, apparently, he stepped up, right? He stepped up at the very end of practice and hauled in a deep ball at the very end of it. And I think, again, guys, Elijah Surratt is a little bit banged up. I think he's a little bit banged up. I remember he missed a day of minicamp. I can't remember what injury he was dealing with specifically, but he was dealing with something apparently. And I think it may just be lingering here into training camp. And that's unfortunate, because Jacoby Lane, as he should, being the 3rd rounder as opposed to Elijah's 4th round selection, Jacoby Lane's really showing him up right now. But here and there, you are hearing how Elijah Surratt is making plays, which is good to hear. So, and again, as long as one of those two guys breaks out, I mean, if both of them break out, cool. If both of Elijah Surratt and Jacoby Lane become stars in this league and big focal points of this passing game, awesome. But if it's just one, I'm not mad at that. It's probably more likely for that to happen anyway, to be honest with you. Same goes for the tight ends, Hibner and Cuevas. Would love for both of them to break out. But if it's just one, I'm cool with that. Right? So, overall, great day of training camp. I really enjoyed seeing the back and forth, the push-pull between the Ravens offense and the Ravens defense. Man, 11 days, chat. 11 days. World Class says I got my money on Hibner. Yeah, he's been balling so far. We haven't heard much about Cuevas, like, at all. We haven't heard much Cuevas news at all. But Matthew Hibner, it's not like his name has been like popping in the streets either. But apparently he is leading all tight ends in receptions, at least by Ryan Mink's count, in training camp, that is. Let me see. Zion beat Vincent and Vincent got his get back. I like it. Love that. I love it, Tanja. I do. I'm surprised Chandler Rivers has been so quiet. Chandler Rivers, he didn't have, I think it was either yesterday or today that he had a pretty decent day. He's been making some waves. Chandler Rivers, he's been making a few waves. Nothing crazy, right? No tidal waves, nothing like that. But he's been doing a little bit. Purple City. Oh yeah, Venga Ioane out there pancaking D linemen. Apparently, Venga Ioane put 2 guys on their butts in one play. And if he's doing that again, albeit in training camp, I don't know which 2 guys he did that to. I know for damn sure it wasn't Travis Jones, because he's not practicing still, or Nnamdi Madubuike because they're still ramping him up. I don't know who it was. But the fact that Ioane is looking as advertised, that's what we need. I mean, that's probably the most like. I mean, we talk a whole lot about Jacoby Lane and like how much we need him to be good, and we need at least one of these tight ends to break out. Chandler Rivers for depth. We need Zion Young to be an animal, a dog. But more than anything, like before any of that, we need that 14th overall pick to perform like a 14th overall pick. And we're not really talking about it too much because, listen, you can't get a real beat on how well Venga Ioane is doing outside of the reports from these reporters. Plus, he plays on the offensive line. It's not sexy, right? The Ravens media team isn't going to chop up a 12-second clip, slow-mo clip of Venga Ioane blocking. They're just not going to do that. So he's just kind of like the guy who we're all quietly hoping and waiting to see if he lives up to expectations. But again, from the reports that we've gotten so far, he is. That's what it sounds like. Let me see. Tanja says, in the Greg Roman era, when he ran out his vault plays and said Lamar win the game, Lamar killed defenses in the up-tempo game. Colts game was lethal. Oh, I remember that one. That Thursday night game. You're right about that. That's when they came back and the Colts had nothing. They had nothing for Lamar. I remember when that game went to overtime, Lamar Jackson, I think you could see him saying to one of his teammates, if you were like reading his lips, like, oh, we're about to go win this shit. I think the Ravens got the ball first. He said, oh, we're about to go win. Let's go win this shit. Like, he knew. And you just kind of know when you're like, I guess when you're a quarterback and you're looking at your opponent, aka the defense, you know when you've got them beat. You know when they have nothing for you. Josh Allen probably looked at the Ravens defense like that in the fourth quarter of week 1 last year. I know it hurts. It hurts. It hurts me too. Hurts me too. But that's what it was. That's basically what it was. God's favorite says, I remember that. Yeah, bro. Marquise had the game winner. Yep, and he threw the ball in the sky afterwards. I remember that. Good times, right? Good times. Don't forget to join the Rain Gang, guys. Like the video if you've not already. We got 180 people watching live right now. Subscribe if you are new. This is the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel where we cover all things Baltimore Ravens daily here. And we've been grinding lately. We got out 3 videos today. So after this video, I need you to check out Raining Ravens. It's a new show. Shorter videos, right? Where I kind of just get in, get out, give you a report, really, on what's going on with the Ravens, especially when the games start. Those are going to be way more entertaining. Way more entertaining, I can promise you. I mean, they're already cool now, but like, I can only imagine the emotions I'm going to be stepping in the studio with right after games, making videos like that. And of course, I'll still be going live for you guys too. Don't worry, we'll still be live. We'll still be live pretty much every day, especially once the season starts. We're already doing that. So you know how we do here at PRP. Grind don't stop. Grind don't stop. What are we, an hour and 13 in right now? Jeez. Let me see. Hey, Sutton, I got to admit, I slept on Peebles. Y'all right about him. Even Venga Ioane talked about him. He looks great, number 90. Peebles, I still feel like he looks good, right? But I still feel like he has his limitations. I still feel like he's a very situationally dependent tackle right now, defensive tackle. That's where I'm at with him. We'll see how Jesse Minter decides to utilize him in the season. He's another guy who I'm going to be looking at in the preseason to see what he does. You know, some of these 3rd and longs where these offenses go spread and maybe there's no insert block or anything like that to stop him. Maybe he can rip through. Maybe he can get a sack. I don't know. And these people, I mean, his specialty is pass rush from the interior. So we'll see if he can live up to that. Run defense has not really been his thing historically. We'll see how Jesse Minter decides to work with him in that department too. But I agree with you, world class. I'm excited for him too. I'm excited for Aeneas Peebles as well. All right. Mark has been quiet for sure. Oh, look at Bait Hater back in the chat. Bait Hater back in the chat, y'all. Oh, shit. Let's see. Where is Cheeto? Cheeto Um, I feel like I've seen more reports of Cheeto getting beat than Cheeto breaking up passes and actually winning some reps. That's what I think. Okay. All right. So I do want to get into some other news here that came out today. How about we go here first? I wanted to hear the national media's take. I haven't listened to this yet, but I wanted to hear the national media's take. Forgive me for doing this. I know you guys hate when I do this, but I wanted to hear the national media's take on this whole Zay Flowers extension thing. I haven't heard this yet, but here is first things first. One of the most popular national media sports outlets on Fox talking about Zay Flowers and his $140 million 4-year deal.
Savvy front office.
They just never had a bunch of great receivers, even before Lamar.
Yeah, so they prioritize Derrick Henry over star receiver. They want to be a running team. Yeah. And this has been my part of my rub with Lamar is the frustration of I'm not talking about this show necessarily, but a little bit maybe, but certainly a lot of the outside discussion I would hear was about how Lamar is still underrated, about how just as pure passer, he's as good as anybody, that might be the best player in the league. And then when the playoffs would come around and they lose, it'd be like, you know what they should have done? Run the ball more. Well, you know what they should have done? They lose to the Chiefs without Derrick Henry, and they're mad they didn't run the ball more in that game. Then they go and get Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so I don't buy as much as you, Brew, the idea that Lamar has been bereft of. He's a one-man show on offense.
Oh no, he's definitely. I mean,
but he hasn't had the star receiver.
Yeah.
Which is one of the reasons I didn't think we needed to put the Zay Flowers contract as its own topic, because I thought it would come up here. Mm-hmm. I think it is gobsmacking that the Ravens gave him that deal.
I agree.
And it is a sign that the Ravens think we do have a star receiver. You know what I mean? That we do have a guy that we drafted he was first round pick. Yeah, we drafted in the first round. Which, by the way, they drafted Hollywood Brown in the first round. They drafted Rashad Bateman in the first round. They've spent a lot of resources.
Bateman can't stay healthy.
No.
And Zay's good, but you would agree. I was shocked by the numbers.
And so that to me is, but it is a further commitment to the idea. All right, Lamar, you've got enough, man.
Uh-oh.
You've got Derrick Henry.
Uh-oh.
We think you have a number one receiver.
Uh-oh.
We got rid of the head coach, which, again, I'm not saying he made them do it, but I think he was happy about that. Sure. Am I okay with him dropping to 5? Yes, I'm absolutely okay with him. I'm okay with that technically being tier 2, given who is in tier 1. Yes, with the asterisk of, I think the Burrow piece is tricky. I also...
Let me stop it there. Because I have to address some of the things that Nick Wright and his co-hosts here are discussing when it comes to our Ravens and Zay Flowers. So I'll read the quote again. Nick Wright says, "It is gobsmacking that the Ravens gave Zay Flowers that deal. And it is a sign that the Ravens think we do have a star receiver. It is a further commitment to the idea that Lamar Jackson has enough to win." So I want to ask you guys, do you think, and I want you to put your Ravens caps on, because these guys don't wear Ravens caps like we do, obviously, right? They don't. So I want you to put your Ravens thinking cap on and tell me down below in the comments or in the live chat if you're live with me, and shout out to you, does Lamar Jackson have enough? I mean, he's healthy. He's got a better offensive line this season. He's got a wide receiver 1 in Zay Flowers. However you feel about Bateman, if you don't like him at wide receiver 2, whatever. But a lot of you guys like Tez Walker. Jacoby Lane is jumping out of the gym every single day here in training camp. Mark Andrews, maybe he has a resurgence. Do you think that Lamar Jackson has enough weapons to win a Super Bowl this season? Because I think he does. I think he does. I think he does. And the reason why I think he does is because this receiving core that he currently has in year 9 is leaps and bounds better than the receiving core he had in year 1 or in year 2, rather. Leaps and bounds better than the likes of Willie Snead, Michael Crabtree, Seth Roberts, Chris Moore, who's now back on the team. Right? Those type of guys who he still won MVPs with and still put up breathtaking numbers. And this was in the era where they said he couldn't throw. So apparently he couldn't throw back then, and he had trash receivers and still won MVPs. So now fast forward 8 years later, he's got a bona fide wide receiver 1. Just got paid like it, so he is that. Expectations are higher now. Rashad Bateman, you also drafted him in the first round. Again, however y'all feel about Bateman. Jacoby Lane, you drafted him in the 3rd round. And he's looking good in training camp. Mark Andrews is still Mark Andrews. Well, not really, but he's still there. He's still going to be one of Lamar Jackson's favorite targets. And then, oh yeah, by the way, you have the best running back of Lamar Jackson's career that he's ever played with. And then Jesse Minter manning the defense now. I think he's got enough. I do. Now, some of y'all might say, oh, well, no, the Ravens should have gone out and gotten Stephon Diggs, yada, yada, yada. But here's my thing. If you're not going to bring in a wide receiver who can just come in and snatch Zay Flowers' chain as wide receiver 1, then don't do it. Don't half-step. Why? Because we've been half-stepping at acquiring wide receivers pretty much Lamar Jackson's entire career. When I say acquiring wide receivers, I mean either via trade, free agency, what have you. I'm not talking about draft. I was a proponent of going out this offseason and pursuing A.J. Brown. That I feel like would have been a move that would have been necessary to make. See, bringing in Stephon Diggs, it's like, okay, him and Zay Flowers are going to battle it out for who gets the most targets per game. Is that what we want? Is Stephon Diggs that dominant? I don't think so. But A.J. Brown was, right? That's just me. That's just me. I think Lamar Jackson has enough to get it done. And I don't think that that's like talking down on Lamar or the team or anything like that. I don't. Somebody's making it rain, though. Who's making it rain? Mac Millie. Thank you so much, Mac Millie, making it rain here on Quiet Storm Sports. Mac Millie says, pieces are in place. It's on the coaches, I believe. I believe that, too. I believe that, too. Because, again, there's times where we've seen Lamar Jackson with, I mean, got to an AFC Championship game. They said we didn't run enough. You know, you had your wide receiver 1, Zay Flowers, in his rookie year in the AFC Championship game, make some plays. Had a big touchdown in the first quarter. Had a big reception down the stretch of that game where he did get the penalty, the taunting penalty. That kind of pushed us back a little bit. That still pisses me off to this day. And then, of course, he did catch a ball over the middle and tried to get in the end zone. And you guys know the rest. Tried to dive in the end zone. And you guys know the rest. So, like, we've gotten to damn near the top of the mountain with lesser weapons. Now I feel like we've only gotten stronger. Overall, like, there's been a net increase, I think, in the skill and the talent in our wide receiver room from then to now. I do. I think Zay Flowers has gotten exponentially better than he was in 2023. I think Rashad Bateman is a very good receiver. Damn good receiver who just needs the opportunities. Chris Broussard is talking about Rashad Bateman can't stay healthy. Those days are over. Okay, those days are over. Bateman couldn't stay healthy in the first couple of years of his career. But ever since then, he's been relatively healthy. Not to say he hasn't missed a game, or two here or there, but he's been relatively healthy. And again, you know how we feel about Jacoby Lane and the rest of the guys as well. We expect them to do work. Let me see. World Class says, I still think we need to trade 92. Wait a minute. Wait, what? Am I reading this right? World Class? I still think we need to, like, Nnamdi Madubuike number 92? Trade Nnamdi Madubuike for Vita Vea to be a Super Bowl team this year. No, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Because we already paid Nnamdi Madubuike. We already paid Nnamdi. And Vita needs to be paid. And next year, Lamar needs to be paid. So nah, I don't agree with that one. I don't agree with that. I'm good with Nnamdi and Travis and Calais and all them boys. That's what I think. SV Cam, what up, brother? Another super chat donation from Mac Millie again says the talent has fell victim to coaching malpractice. I believe that as well. I believe that as well. Trade him is crazy, world class. I'm not gonna lie. Trade him is crazy. But yeah, I do believe that the talent has fell victim to coaching malpractice in the past. I mean, you can just look at certain things like the like what we talk about, the AFC Championship game that we were just talking about, running the ball a total of 6 times? 6 times against a bad run defense who had proven in that game they couldn't stop your run. Coaching malpractice at its finest. At its finest, by the way. Mike says Zay was hooping in that AFC championship game. I don't even blame him for the fumble because Snead made a great football play. That was a crazy good play by L'Jarius Snead, punching out that ball as soon as he was about to cross the goal line. Oh, it still haunts me. Still haunts me. Okay. All right. Beaks got the neck roll now. Yeah, and he looks like a savage. Looks like an absolute savage. And I love that. Like the video for the neck pad. Like the video for the neck pad, y'all. I love that for BK. Okay. So, again, to put a cap on that, I do think that the Ravens have enough to win this year. Because if they don't have enough to win this year, it's like, okay, do we need to, at some point, just build a Madden Ultimate Team? Is that what we need to win? Is that what we need to win? Like, if you can't win it with this year's roster, do we need a Madden Ultimate Team? Because that's what it's going to feel like. It's like, how much more would they need? Oh, they need to go out and get another wide receiver. Like, who? Who do you think? Bringing in a name your favorite wide receiver 2 in the league. I don't know. One of the top wide receiver 2 in the league wouldn't be better than Zay Flowers. You think we need to bring him in and he's going to get us to a Super Bowl? Like, why can't Zay Flowers do it? He's the one. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying. Okay. What else did I want to get into here? You also had, let me see who this is. Let me see. Outside of Ravens news, you had, where is this at? This was earlier today. Oh, Bijan Robinson, Falcons running back, signed a crazy deal. Well, not crazy, but he signed a big deal. As expected, ESPN sources reported early this morning, 2-time Pro Bowl selection Bijan Robinson and the Falcons reached an agreement on a 3-year extension worth up to $75 million that now will make him the highest paid running back in NFL history. So that is pretty crazy. Robinson will receive a record $51 million guaranteed, including $37 million at signing, in a deal that agent Nicole Lynn and the Falcons have been working hard on to finish up in recent days. So yeah, everybody's trying to lock down their star skill players like we did with Zay. Obviously, the Falcons here with the Bijan, trying to get it done before the season, before the price goes up. Because that's all that's going to happen. The price is just going to go up. That's it. The price is going to keep going up and up and up. But yeah, so shout out to Bijan. I think he deserves it. It's well deserved. I think that Bijan Robinson is probably the best running back in the league. I don't think it's crazy to say either. I think Bijan Robinson is the best running back in the league. I do. But all right. I think that was about all I had for this episode of the show, as we are an hour and a half in now. Hour and a half in. I thank you guys so much for coming through to this one. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Listen, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. We've got a lot more Ravens content coming out where this comes from here. So live streams, videos, YouTube shorts, all the like. Over Barkley, yes. I think the Bijan Robinson in 2026 over Barkley, yes. Yeah. I just like when they use the overhead cam and Bijan gets loose with it. Absolutely. But yes, guys, I'm going to go ahead and leave it here for this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Again, be sure to like the video, sub on your way out if you have not already. Shout out to the replay gang. Make sure you comment down below what you thought about this episode. Any, the takes and topics that we had here today. Zay Flowers extension, the wide receiver 3 talks, the training camp day 6 reactions, all that good stuff, right? All that good stuff. I want to know how you feel about it. Let me know down below in the comment section. But until next time, stay positive, test negative, and never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainy tip days, to call God May Purple Rain. Peace.
You're watching Quiet Storm Sports on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Subscribe for more Ravens content.